Well, I am about as pleased as can be. I'm loving the look of this build. I don't even know how to describe the vibes that I'm feeling. But inside of my mind's eye, I see so many things that I haven't done yet, that I can't do yet, that I need to do, I want to do, I really want to do. I've. It's been a long time since I felt this way. It feels kind of nice. So, there's decorations left to do on top of everything, and what can I say? They're inside of my mind, but they're not on the paper. There's materials that I don't have. I I should show you what I've done so far and talk instead of what I've done. Instead of what I'll do. That's what I need to do. Now, Deadly Dirtblock did remind me, and he showed me. Was that paper that you had shown me drawn by Roby Toby? That would be very interesting. Then he would have provided me not only with my leaf crushers, my favorite ones, but also with the knowledge that I needed. Now, these chickens, it was originally. I feel that it was originally only one chicken. Or maybe it was two. But it became quite a few of them over time. And then up there, I was so confused. I found a pair of cows. So I went ahead and brought them over here, and I'm trying to keep them in here. I'll process them into leather eventually. And then wandering around down here, where are you? I saw you dancing around. I promise I'll just leave you alone. I don't necessarily need to do anything with you. So there we are. You can have the run of the place, I guess. Just so long as you don't die, I won't kill you. I might come and bring a saddle for you eventually. But, stay as long as you like, I guess. I don't have any potatoes for you. Or carrots. But, they'll be here soon. Give it a few weeks, at the most. Because, now that I feel. Let me just creep on over. Now that I feel that I'm so close to being done with what builds I needed to do. I've got outer roads, I've got something approximating the idea of an inner road, although that wasn't originally meant to be an inner road. It was actually the inner shell and the outer shell. But the outer shell looks more like a road now that it has this. Well, at first it was just supposed to be stairwells, but it's becoming legs. And once I've got the rest of the blocks in place, it'll be even more convincingly so exactly that. So I should enjoy this. And I do. As for the inner portions of the base, they mirror the outer portions well. The stairwells look good. The base itself from a healthy little distance away. Okay, realistically, I gotta get quite some distance away to consider it healthy enough to actually take a look. But, I mean, I suppose I have to add rails to these, otherwise they're not roads, they're platforms. Isn't that right? So, the base itself has such a good symmetry to it. I'd swear that I've placed like 250,000 blocks so far, or something like that. Broken like 60,000 cobblestone, probably. Picked up half that. probably broken some 25,000 uh, logs. That's the word that I'm looking for. Maybe I probably haven't placed a 250,000. I think that I've actually made something along the line of 100,000 slabs so far. It's all slabs. It's all slabs. It's the only way to make it flame-proof. Of course, I still need to come back and remove that central spindle down there. I mean, you can't really see it very well, that central spindle that's right there in the very, very center of the base, and there's some ladder on it and a couple little bits coming off of it, and you can see that the bits are kind of attaching to some of the temporary scaffolding on the spider's balcony. I need to remove that, even though it was one of the first few blocks that I placed. You know, when I placed the lava bucket on the side of my island on the first, 5 nights inside of this world, and decided to basically, instead of making cobblestone generator, that I was just going to make an enormous cobble pillar that went all the way down to Y0. That just seemed safer, more efficient, and I only needed 8 pieces of cobble to continue. You know, that realistically the cobble was a trap. If I focused on making my base entirely out of cobble, I definitely would have starved to death long before I even got anywhere near close enough to finding a food source. I delayed going and, whichever direction it is, probably over that way, I think. You know, I delayed, over that way, there it is. I delayed picking up the desert island for ages, because there's nothing inside of that was going to help me survive. I made an awful lot of books during this point in time where I don't need leather. Uh, it's absolutely critical to take advantage of every opportunity that you possibly can in a challenge like this. And a little bit of basically leather-free books isn't going to be called cheating by anybody. I just have to admit, though, that the most horrible portion of all of this has been having to do it without pistons. I have just so many times said to myself that all I wanted was just 2 pistons. That would be all it took, and I would stop going insane. I'd be able to pick up all of the cobble that I'm actually mining. I'd be able to make a mob farm of some sort, something decent. I could do so much. I mean, you see that I obviously want to go and make myself an enchanting setup. It's not just for looks. So I really am just as pleased as can. And then, of course, I should. If I was being smart about this, I would move that cobble generator up to the topmost floor. I would put my bread on this next floor, and then I would put the sugar cane down on the bottommost floor. And I'd use my one singular water source to basically just connect all 3 of them. Because, well, that's exactly what this outer shell area is supposed to be, is a tremendous amount of space where I'm able to build. Because I find it absolutely amazing that, for me at least, maybe not you, maybe not anyone else even, but for me at least, when I look at the idea of the Skyblock world, yes, I see a lot of empty space, but I also see nowhere to build whatsoever. Everywhere needs to have somewhere for you to walk to it. And that's kind of what my base became. I needed somewhere to be able to get everything, everywhere, but I didn't need to decentralize my base. The vast majority of it's still right here. And then on top of it, when we talk about my oak trees, at first I was capping their height as a 5 height oak tree because that has no branches. However, I was thinking about it, and because I'm doing a manual harvest, I just went ahead and increased it to 6 height, which means 8 air blocks in between the dirt and the bottom slab up there. Realistically, I could have used any block I wanted, but yeah, kind of. Sometimes you pretend to have choices when you have no choices. But with a 6 height oak tree, what I'll end up having is occasionally one of them will have a branch, but it will be a 5 height oak guaranteed when it does have a branch, and the branch will be either 1 or 2 logs, period, which means that I don't need a stump for going and knocking down any of those, as opposed to this 4 height birch, where I absolutely do need to leave a stump for getting the top log and take out the bottom log last. Now, is there anything else for me to address inside of here? Right. I had considered going off just a little bit further than the edge of where I've built. And I do mean that it's just a little bit further, as in precisely 1 block further, and we would be out inside of potentially a frozen ocean biome. Or if I'm looking at the north side, I would be inside of a ice plains biome. And the ice plains biome is indeed the one that I want to be building at. Yeah, it is over that way, so I am looking in the correct direction. The ice plains biome is indeed the one that I want to be building at, because, well, first of all, it contains the structures which I created. I wanted them relatively close to spawn, but outside of spawn by enough that I could be able to call that an industrial district. And, as an industrial district, one of the primary blocks which I absolutely need to be able to collect from it is going to be ice. The clear ice. It's just so valuable. And such a beautiful block, too. Especially in a Skyblock world, but in any world, it's an extremely beautiful, valuable block. And I simply will not be able to collect ice until I'm in version 1.7 at the absolute earliest, which is not the version that I'm about to update into, which means that despite being very ready to go out and start building the industrial zone, most of the industrial zone I might not be able to properly operate until version 1.7, 1.8, 1.11. That there's going to be portions of that I'm not going to be able to do a thing with for quite some long time. But I'm going to enjoy it anyway, and I'm going to do as much as I can on those spots. But I don't know necessarily if I need to go and get out there right away and start building it, if I can actually put that off. Because one of the things that I've wanted from over there was snow. I love snow. It's a beautiful white block. It's so useful, and it's lava-proof, which is just lovely. And I would love to have a snowman. But I think that my snow would have to be manually collected up off of the ground, and that would take some time, and that makes it rather difficult to use it as a big cosmetic block at this moment. So I've gotta... I think that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and sacrifice the time necessary to go ahead and farm for a little bit more while daydreaming and meditating, fatten up my storehouses just a nice little bit, full of a bit of everything that I can get, just a little bit of everything that I can get. A little bit more, at least. And then I'm going to go ahead and make the final hard copy backup, and then I'll say goodbye to 1.2. And I'll say hello to 1.5 and the addition of hoppers and comparators, and I'll be able to make a piston or two. Oh, it's got me so excited. Oh, it's got me so excited. So, you see how I'm feeling. And I hope that it's going to be good for you too. So, unless I make major discoveries along my ideas in something that I see that I want to do that I haven't done yet that needs doing, oh, I wonder. I'll think for a time, and if that time tells me that it's time to do it, then I'll begin the next episode, and the next episode will be as I have continued onwards. And if that isn't the case, then I just delete this and show you what I've built next. But I think that I'm actually close to done, because I've gotten myself so excited over it. So then, I hope that you've had a good time, and I hope that you'll enjoy what I'm about to give you, because this has taken a long time. Hope you have a good day. Take care, everyone.